I will speak from what might just be a slightly different approach or angle to this thing. Now, I do know that there are people in Nigeria who are watching also, back home. But I realize that mainly this is supposed to be for MCs in diaspora. So, for my few minutes, I'm not going to tell you particularly what you should do to get a lot of work as an MC in diaspora. Mm-mm. I once read a book. In fact, I read that book a couple of weeks after I got into the United States, and it was the biography of Cristiano Ronaldo that was written by a Spanish journalist called Christian Guillem Belaga. Guillem Belaga, and Guillem Belaga said that there is no point leaving your homeland or leaving your country to go to another country unless it is to conquer and to dominate that other country. I'll say that again. Guillem Belaga said that there is no point leaving your home and leaving your own people, leaving your climb, leaving your country to go to another country unless it is to conquer that country. Now, I do realize that coming from where we are coming from, there are a lot of challenges that make us feel or compel us to leave, right? And for some of us, it's just basic survival. We're just tired of things not working out, and that's good enough by itself. But beyond and above that, we must be looking to dominate. Now, I realize that not everybody has an exit plan. It's not everybody's intention to return at some point. But for me, it always weighs on my mind. Yeah, because we're kings and we're queens where we're coming from. So with that in mind, you should know that as much as you're here and you're doing the things that you do, you must always have at the back of your mind a drive to be the best in this land. This land for me being the United States. This land for you might be Canada. This land for you might be the United Kingdom. But the point is, please think of yourself as not having come here just to survive. So essentially, you have two options. You have two options. And please, this is what I want you to eat this and to imbibe this. You have two options, right? Number one, you either become one of the best in the United States or in Canada or the United Kingdom. And I don't mean the best in the Nigerian community. I mean the best. That means that if you're here doing comedy, if you're here being an MC, you have to become one of the best. So as it goes in my head, that means that if you're an MC, then it must be your target to host at the biggest events within a couple of years or after a certain time. So you must be one of the best. If you think that that will not happen for you, or if you feel that cannot happen for you, or if you feel that is beyond the scope of your dreams and your imaginings and your strivings, then I lead you to the second option. Remember, the first option is that if you're in this United States, or you're in Canada, or you're in the United Kingdom, or you're in Germany, or you're in Italy, or you're in South Africa, or wherever you are right now, your number one drive must be to become one of the best in that circle or in that area of emceeing or comedy, right? It mustn't just be within or inside the Nigerian community. What you do in the Nigerian and African community is just supposed to be a stepping stone or something to keep you busy till you get to that stage. So, in other words, think Trevor Noah, right? Just think Trevor Noah. So that's what you must be aiming for if this is what you want to do. Why? Because there is no point that you left Nigeria and you came here and all your intention is just to keep emceeing within the Nigerian community. If that is your intention, then why did you leave Nigeria where there are 300 million Nigerians? There are only a couple of million Nigerians in the diaspora. There are more Nigerians back home than there are in the diaspora. So if you left Nigeria simply because you wanted to come and MC here, then you might miss a trick. And I don't know whether you've noticed, my own experience is that even though the dollar is superior to the naira, pound for pound, they've paid me more in Nigeria than they pay me here. In fact, for the longest time, I didn't work here because they were offering $500 and $800, and I just didn't understand. Because coming from when I came from back home, I was one of the highest paid MCs. I mean, I was earning millions to MC events and they were coming regularly. So this idea that I will now come here and you'll be giving me $500 to $300, I just couldn't, apprehend it. It didn't sit well with me for a minute. We eventually worked that out. But the point is that it cannot be that you left Nigeria exclusively so that you will come and corner the MC market of Nigerians in the diaspora. You understand? So it must be that if you're pursuing that because you want to be the best in America. You cannot be in America and be the Nigerian champion in America. If you want to be the Nigerian champion, then you need to go back to Nigeria, which brings me to my second point. If you have decided that for whatever reason, it is not your intention to be a Trevor Noah or whoever else has broken the international divide between Nigeria, Africa, and the rest of the world. If you decide that that is not your intention, for example, so I'll tell you a secret. I've sort of decided that for now, maybe that is not my intention. Why? Because people keep asking me that. They keep telling me stuff like, whenever we see Trevor Noah, we think about you. We think you're one of the few comedians that can actually cross the divide and tell jokes that even other nationalities will enjoy. They keep telling me that, right? But the truth is that I'm not as young as I used to be. For you to do that, you need to be on the road a lot. Trevor Noah was doing something like 8 comedy clubs a weekend. He'd do one first on Friday night in New York. He'd leave that one, go to another, do another the same Friday night in New York, go to another comedy room. So he'd do 4 on Friday or 5. He'd do another 3 on Saturday. He'd do another 2. I mean, he was literally doing about 20 gigs, in a week, and then was traveling from all over the place, hopping from all over the place. So it's a younger person's game to a degree, right? It's also a single person's game. When you're like me and you have 3 kids and you have dependents, the liberty and the latitude and the freedom to be club hopping does not present itself. And at any rate, that's what we did when we're coming up in Nigeria, when we're single, right? So I'm not compelled to do that. So it brings me to the second option. Remember, I said there were 2 options. Number 1, you must conquer the foreign country where you are. Now, number 2, if it is not your intention to do that, kind of like I have said, that might change tomorrow. But for today, then it must mean that you should have an exit plan. You should have an exit plan. What does that mean? It just means that for all intents and purposes, you're here because of not necessarily survival, but you're here because of logistics and infrastructure. So essentially, you're here because of your kids, you're here because of education, you're here because you were afraid for your life, maybe security, whatever the reason, you're here for infrastructure. You're not entirely here for career, right? You came here for your kids, you came here for your family, you came here to get away. You were frustrated wherever it is you were coming from in Africa. You came here to get away. If that is the case, then you must have an exit plan. So that means, in other words, that you must treat everything that you do here, whether you have a day job that you do from 9 to 5, whether it's remote, and whether it is this MC thing that you're doing, your plan must be to gather momentum and to gather enough resources so that when the time is right, you can exit back to where you're coming from and go and be king there. In other words, my view to life is that you must be king somewhere. If not here, it must be there. You must be king somewhere. You cannot be a non-entity both at home and abroad. It's not possible. It's not possible. They don't know you at home. They don't know you abroad. You must have authority. And when I'm saying authority, I am not talking about popularity the way we think about it in these days of social media. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about the kind of authority in your circle. When they are talking about your circle, when they are talking about your industry, are you one of the authorities? Do your people know you? And that extends to your customers. When your customers think about who to render service in that industry, do they necessarily think about you? Are you one of the standout stars? In America, when they're thinking of hosting the Oscars or the Grammys, they're not thinking about me. Mm-mm. They're thinking Trevor Noah. Yeah, Trevor has hosted the Grammys now for, I think, 4 years on the spin. They're thinking Trevor. However, before I came here, when I was in Nigeria, when they're thinking the biggest events, they're thinking me, or at least I'm one of the names they're thinking. And when the day comes and I decide to step out again because my kids are grown and because they are now, they are now semi-autonomous, they are independent, and I decide to step back home, then I'm still who I am. Somebody still reminded me of that just a few days ago. He said, "You are who you are." He said, "Kọ́ lọ lógún ọdún, bàbá ni bàbá ọmọ jẹ́." That if I go for 20 years and I return, I am who I am. With all humility, we've built the legacy. So this is what I'm saying. Let me bring it home. So you're an MC in this market, right? Do it well. I don't need to tell you that. But don't do it because you want to be the MC that has cornered the Nigerian market. There is no such thing. Look, it's good work. It's honorable work. It's work you should be proud of. You're solving problems for people. The person who wants to host their 40th birthday or their 50th birthday or whatever the celebration is or their wedding, you're solving a real problem for them. You're providing a real service. You're a champion. As an MC that is MCing Nigerian things or African things, you're solving a present problem. You're needed. However, whether home or abroad, there is nobody. Well, that's not nobody. There's hardly anybody that has built an entire career on just MCing. Think about it after this. When you leave, think about it. There is nobody, home or abroad, or there's hardly any person. There are a few outliers, but there are hardly any people who have built their entire careers just on MCing. It's almost always a stepping stone. Now, when you think of the outliers who have actually built a standing and a very, very rewarding career on MCing, when you think about it, they have done it at home, right? When you think about it, they have done it at home. Alternatively, they have done it the way Trevor Noah has done it. I don't know anybody who has been an MC in just the Nigerian community abroad who has made that their only career and built a great legacy and a great business and a great industry around it, right? It almost seems like something that you do out of love and out of passion to solve problems for people. So if that is the case, then you must have your eyes on the bigger picture. And I've told you what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture is that you are either conquering America where you are, you're conquering Canada, you're conquering the UK, you're conquering South Africa, wherever is your diaspora. You are just using your MC the way a comedian uses, a comedy club. You're using it to polish your jokes. You're solving problems for people because they need that problem to be solved for them, right? But you are using it as a stepping stone to get to the big picture. Have you ever done? It happens to me almost every event that I do where there are Americans. So you would MC events now and again, Nigerian events in America, and then they would have American friends. And then when you finish, they'll come to you and say, "You're so good. Oh my goodness, you're so good. You should be going to the comedy clubs." I don't know if that has ever happened to you. It happens to me all the time. Oh my goodness. So some of them don't even know I'm a comedian. So they come to me and say, "You're so funny. Are you a comedian?" I say, "Yes." Like, "Oh my goodness, do you do the comedy clubs?" So if I were younger and if I had more independence and latitude, then that's what I would do. So you're getting my point. By doing those 40th birthdays and weddings and all those Nigerian events, I'm just doing it to hone my skills and to make some money and to solve problems for people with my eye on the bigger picture of conquering America. You must always have that at the back of your mind. Do not just be an MC that is just making money just to supplement what he's doing. Why? Because a person who is 100% dedicated, or a person who is dedicated to taking the craft as far as they can, will always go further than the person who is just using it to supplement income. Surely you've heard this before. I'm not telling you something you've never heard before. That the person who is doing it not only for money, but who is doing it because they have a target, will always go further than the person who is just doing it to supplement their income. When I got here, an MC who was supposed to be established here, or who is established here, offered me an event for 1.5. I was still proud then, so I said no. I said the least I could do was 4,000. He said, bros, I've been here for, as you know, I've been here for over 10 years now. I've never even done an event for 3,000. I said, is that so? He said, okay, great. And yet, in this same North America, they paid me 10,000 before. What is my point? The person who is just doing it now, that guy was saying that because he had another job, and that's not a problem. This is America, that's Canada. As I've said, they might not pay you enough as an MC to live a great life. So having another job is never a problem. I am just saying, don't treat MCing as something you do on weekends just to supplement your income, although that is not bad as well. So that is the third option. If you do it as something you do just to supplement your income on weekend, it's not bad either. Continue. Again, you're solving problems for people. Just know that these other two categories will or might always have the advantage over you. First category, the man who is doing it not because he intends to do it forever, but who is doing it as a stepping stone to conquer the world. Or the man who is doing it because he's solving problems for people now, but has his eyes back on going back home to be king amongst his own people. You must be one of those two. If you're in the third place and you're a person who is here, you like the infrastructure, your kids are here, you have a job that you're doing that you enjoy, and you're just doing MCing as a passion and all of that, great. I'm not saying stop that, do that. You're also solving problems for people. It is just that in the race to be the best, number one and number two will always do more than you, which is why sometimes you go to events and you meet MCs who have been doing it for years, but you've never heard about them really. You've never heard of them, and then you will find that they are still paying them the same amount while they were begging you with 2.5. Please, all we have is $2,500. You will see that they paid him $300, and he was happy to take it. It's not a problem. It's just that I've always struggled with. Okay, so I will end by telling you a story. You might have heard me say it before. It's just that I've drawn different lessons from that one story over the years, and it was from a story that my father gave me. It was in a magazine, and it was the year 2000, just when I had done Diamond Ring, the movie, and I was just getting into comedy. So essentially, the guy in the magazine who was the cover story, he was now the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world. So he was very rich, obviously, very wealthy, millions, tens of millions of dollars. And so he was telling the story about how he almost did not go into business because he was a musician when he was younger, and he had dropped out of college to form a band with his friend, with his friends, right? And then he wasn't going to go back to school anymore. So he was playing the guitar, and he loved it as far as he was concerned. That was his calling. And then one day they went to play somewhere else, and then they saw another band play, right? They saw another band play somewhere else, and somebody in that band, their lead guitarist, was playing the same kind of guitar, the exact same kind of guitar that he played in his own band. It might have been the lead guitar or the tenor or the electric guitar and all of that. And he said that guy was so good that was the day that he stopped playing the guitar. He said as he was watching that guy, he just knew that he would never be as good as that guy. That it seemed that this guy and some other people, very, very few people, it seemed they were born to play the guitar. He was playing at a level that he knew that he could never, he just did not have the talent or the skills to ever get to that level. That he knew within himself that he had to tell himself the truth, that the guy was displaying skills that were just, and that he could not, that kind of drive that he had as a competitive person, as a person, as a competitive person, that he just knew that he could not live with himself in a world knowing that there were people who were better than him, than that guy, right? So that was the day he quit and went back to school to find something, or to find somewhere where he could be the best at. So that's essentially what I'm saying. In those three classes that I've mentioned, it's either you're conquering the diaspora or you're conquering back home. In the third class is also good, but it just won't make you stand out if you think about it too. The passion of the other two, I don't like to use passion. Passion is misguided. Don't ever follow your passion. We don't have time for that. Please do not ever follow your passion. Don't. It's one of the most pernicious pieces of advice that have ruined lives. Don't do that rubbish. Don't follow your passion. Solve problems. So that's why I said even the third person is solving problems as well. Even the person who is doing it to, so somebody wrote, don't do it to supplement your income. I didn't say that. You can actually, it's not bad. You're solving problems. It's just that that should be your last recourse, right? Because some people really don't want to go back home. Some of you have had terrible experiences. Some of you are fine being the father of your kids and the husband of your wife, or the wife of your husband. That's actually your calling. That's your purpose. You like your family. You have a job that you do 9 to 5. Maybe you're a scrum master. Maybe you're into cybersecurity. Maybe you're accounts payable. And then you do this thing on weekends as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I just always strive for number one and number two. Yeah, but we're not all the same. So wherever you fall, it's all good. Tá bá torí iṣu jẹpo, á torí epo jẹṣu, káró ṣọmọdì, káró dìmọ̀ṣọ́, kí di ọṣà àmọ́ ti gbófo. For whatever reason you're in the business, the point remains you're solving a problem. I've just tried to give you a wider vista and a wider perspective to seeing things. I don't want to be the guy who is 70 years old and who is still emceeing events because he needs the money. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who is 70, because if I'm 70 and you see me hosting an event, I just will be more comfortable if it's one of the two. If it's either that I'm hosting the biggest events in the world, or if it's either that I'm hosting the biggest events in my country, in my place. I just don't want to be at 70, the guy who has a job and is also emceeing events on the side because he needs the money. Because when you are at that level, even though it's not wrong, they will always just pay you because you are interchangeable. They need an MC. They don't need you. They need an MC. In the first two levels, they need you. In the first two levels, they need Teju Babyface because he's a king. In that third level, they don't need you. They need an MC. So any MC will do. In that third level, you are a commodity. You don't have a brand. So they will keep, which is why some of us here have been paid the same money over and over again. No matter how bad the economy gets and things get worse, they haven't increased your own fee. They have been paying you the same thing over and over again. It's because you've commoditized yourself, because you're on that third level where you're just doing it for the money as an addition. So I will say it again for the obtained time as I round up. You are either conquering America or you're conquering Canada. And this MC thing that you're doing is just a stepping stone to go and conquer the world. Or you are doing this MC thing while you're building your family and you're taking advantage of the infrastructure that is here while you go to school, raise your kids, whatever it is you're doing. And then you intend to go back home and be king. Case in point, I did an interview with the actress Shola Sobowale. Shola Sobowale was away for 12 years in United Kingdom. They wrote her off. They said she was finished. She was doing a nursing work and all of that. So imagine if Shola Sobowale had been an MC. Then you would have seen her at Nigerian parties during those 12 years as well. Yes, she would be doing her work as a healthcare assistant, nursing assistant during the day, and then she would do MC during the weekend. Imagine that she was an MC. Acting opportunities did not exist in the UK. So if those opportunities had existed, then she would have been acting on the weekends. But she was doing all of those things while she raised her kids. And once her daughters were grown, she went back to Nigeria, and the rest is history. Now she has gone to conquer home. So she couldn't conquer abroad, but she didn't need to. That was not in her vista. She wanted to raise her kids, and now she's gone back to conquer home. And from home, now she's conquering abroad because she now did a movie, a bigger Nollywood movie recently. So that's it. Aim to conquer the world or aim to conquer your country. But hey, you know what they say? Aim for the moon, if not, fall amongst the stars. All right, that's it. Aha, I'm done. Wọ́n ní kí
I
epo
mean,
pọ̀ nígbà tí iná lọ síbi.
ẹ mọ̀ pé Yorùbá yín ó thick gan. It says, so I'm sure you can see the question. So, how do I balance between being an MC, skit maker, and a stand-up comedian based in Nigeria? Should I niche down to one? Okay, OJ Laughter has that question.
I
So.
have made many mistakes in my life, and we all make mistakes, right? And I mentioned I went in that area. Don't ever listen to that bullshit piece of advice where they say follow your passion. It's nothing like that. Please don't do it. Don't do it. Don't follow your passion. And there's nothing like you have a calling or you have a purpose. Well, you do, but it's not the way they tell you. All of us have the same common purpose and the same common calling, which is to solve problems. It's it's
So,
a it's right there in Genesis if you read it. It's right there. Be productive, reproduce. What was the word he used? Subdue the earth. Solve problems. It's right there. It's the Genesis mandate. But you don't have a calling. There's nothing you were called to. You don't have a pre-purpose. It's rubbish, right? What you do have, however, are proclivities. You have talents and inherent abilities that make you do some things better than other people's. And then you have other people, and then you have things that draw you. So I will never be a doctor, for example. Why? Not because I hate medicine, but because I can't. I can't see injured people. You know how? So I see it all the time. When I was in Nigeria, there'd be an accident at the side of the road, and there will be so much traffic on the other side because people are stopping to look at the accident. I've never been
yes,
able
sir.
to do it. I can't look at injured people. I can't. I'll probably faint or pass out, or my body starts to. I cannot. I can't handle wounds. I can't handle injuries. I can't handle blood. I can't. I'm not that guy. So I obviously cannot be a doctor because both the patient and I will faint, right? Right. So I obviously cannot be a doctor. So there are some things that you don't have the proclivity to be. But there are other things that you generally have the proclivity to be because you don't hate it. So it's not what you love. Don't ever go for what you love. Just find how you can solve problems that you don't hate. So it is hate. As long as you don't hate it and it's a way to solve problems, then you can make money doing it. Now, as it goes to do with your question, do everything. That's how you will know which one. Be a skit maker, be a comedian, be a talk show host, be an actor, do all of them. It is while you're doing all of them that you will know which one is actually a problem that needs solving and which one does not need solving. I mean, if you are a stand-up comedian and nobody calls you for shows because they think you're not funny, I mean, apparently it's not a problem that needs solving. If you're a skit maker and nobody watches your skits, it's not a problem that needs. And don't look, fail fast. Don't waste your time. Fail very fast. They say quitters never win and winners never quit. True. But fools also never move on, right?
Yes, sir.
Fail very fast. Don't waste time. Fail fast. Look, this bullshit that have you noticed that you don't really have you noticed you don't have you noticed you don't spend more than a year in any class in school?
Yes,
You don't spend more than a year. And when you
yes, sir.
when you repeat, they give you another opportunity.
Yes,
When
sir.
you repeat, they give you a second opportunity. If you repeat again, they expel you.
Straight.
You don't spend more than 3 years in any class. So why do you keep doing this thing that has not worked out the first year, has not worked out the second year, and you're still on it the third year because somebody told you that you should persevere and you
Follow
should.
a consistency and follow your passion.
That's rubbish. That's Look, why things don't always work out the first time, you should be able to measure. It's not as if things will work out in the first year, is what I'm saying, but you should be
Yes,
able
sir.
to measure growth. You should see that, hey, I was there, and while my
Yes, sir.
dreams are not exactly all come true right now, I have moved from there to here. I am much
Yes, sir.
further than I used to be. You should be able to measure growth. But when you're still in the same place and things have not worked out, then move on. So do everything. Be an MC, be a
Yes, sir.
skit maker, be a stand-up comedian, be an actor, be a musician. Do all of them. The feedback will soon let you know which ones you should
Yeah.
drop and
Yes,
which
sir.
ones to focus on, and then that's it.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
don't try to predetermine. That's the problem. Don't try to predetermine on your own which one you think you should pick because somebody somewhere said some crap about how you were called or born to do something or how you were predestined and rubbish.
Thank you, sir. I'll just quickly take two questions. Mr. Bell says, I have a decent 9 to 5. However, I want to major in resigning, but I know my stuff and my reviews are good. What is your advice? So the person says he has a 9 to 5, and then the other question is, what are the best strategies for upskilling in this industry? How do you improve on your skill? I think
Femi
TMO.
Bello, the man who has a job and who wants to resign. I
Yeah.
think you're Eti Amelo. Má resign òṣì kankan o, má ẹ̀kọ́ tó ẹ jẹ o. Ìyá á jẹ.
Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying. Stop listening to all these people. Hi. Do you let me tell you something? Do you know that where we come from, all of a sudden, people who have no business teaching business have been teaching business from platforms because we respect them. I don't want to say more than that. Because we respect certain people, we respect them for whatever reason. They have no business teaching business. They should have just faced what we came for.
Mm.
And they start teaching you success principles, and yet they have not run a business. And yet somehow we listen to them. So they tell you crap like you have to focus on one thing at a time. If you don't focus on one thing at a time, then da. Let me tell you a secret. Olówó ló lówó, olówó
Hmm.
láyé mọ̀, owó ni kẹ̀kẹ́ ìyìn rere. Ajé ló ju ohun gbogbo lọ. If you have to take one thing of all of them, there's money, there's fame, there's power, there's whatever, pleasure. Always choose money. Money will solve your problems. Don't ever leave your job for uncertainty. Ever. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do the MC in addition to your job. Òrìṣà bó ò bá lè gbè mí, fi mí lẹ̀ bó ti bá mi.
Yes, sir.
If it is true that your passion or your calling or there's something for you in MCing, if it is true, then the MCing will show you by itself. By the time you do it, if it is true that there's something there for you, you will make enough sooner rather than later so that your job becomes surplus to requirements. At that point, you won't have to ask anybody whether or not you should leave your job. But don't walk
Yes, sir.
away from the job because of your passion. Unless, of course, you don't have a family. If you're single and you're still 21, I mean, go and be foolish. You have time.
So, okay, so I'll take the last one. The one that talked about upskilling. How can she upskill skill? Well, that I think I saw that earlier on. What are the strategies for upskilling here in the industry? And I think TMO has spoken about it, but it'll be great to hear from you, sir.
Follow mentors. That's all. I mean, that's all you do. Just find a mentor who's established or who's good in the industry and follow them. For the first full year that I did comedy, all I did were Basoj Taria jokes. For the second full year that I did comedy, all I did were Alibaba jokes. Till today, if you ever hear me say at an event, till today, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that came from Alibaba. I mean, I trained under Ali when 2001, 2002. That's when I was with Ali, rolling with Ali. That's what 22 years ago. Till today, I still say Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I mean, usually when I'm in Nigeria, till today when I'm speaking and I give an opening sort of speech, you're welcome, and I talk all that Oyinbo, that's Basoj. Till tomorrow, that's Basoj. So the best strategies for upskilling in this industry is to attach yourself to somebody who's a master at it, roll around with them for a minute, tell all their jokes, use all their things. In fact, people will be they used to be happy to pay us to be mini Alibabas in the day. That's how we started.
Yes.
They,
Yes, sir.
they would
Yes,
say
sir.
Alibaba was not available. Then they would pay me and my other colleagues who were rolling with him at that time because they had seen us train under him. So they
Yes.
knew
Yes,
that,
sir.
in fact, they would be happy. Rather than pay Alibaba 150K at that time, they would happily pay us 30K, knowing that they would get about 60% or 70% of what Ali would have brought.
Would
In
have
some
done.
cases,
Yes,
they
sir.
would get 80% because we would almost die there trying to prove ourselves. So that's it.
Yes, sir. I really, really want to thank you, sir. I know that this uh, this is a lot. If we decide to pay, we would not even be able to pay
You will
you. I
pay.
sincerely
I'm
appreciate.
sending you my.
Yes, yes, sir. I
You
don't
will pay.
mind. We know what it takes. Yes, sir. We will pay, sir. The people here will pay. All of us will pay, sir. Thank you so much for being a blessing to us. I do not take this privilege for granted. I pray that God continue to keep you until only good news will hear about you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
One
I,
last
I,
thing, please. My pet
yes,
peeve.
one last thing, sir.
Please
Yes, sir.
stop telling people to clap for themselves every statement you make. Ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, please clap for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please put
Yes,
your hands
sir.
together for yourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please do it maybe once, maybe twice, but don't have them clapping for themselves too much.